We are going to continue with the garden work today, where we are basically cleaning up and beautifying one garden bed at a time because, you know, little by little, a little becomes a lot. One of my favorite quotes that I say all the time. Here's the thing for today though. I'm exhausted. My family and I went to a concert last night. It was wonderful. We had a fabulous time, but of course that means not going to bed until way later than I'm used to. And so, man, I could just lay on the couch all day, but if I did that, it would just make the problem worse and I'd feel more tired. So instead, I'm going to get the pep back in my step by working in the garden. So let's go. Hi you guys, this is Nicole from My Carolina Garden. My garden is located in growing zone 8B and we are in southeastern North Carolina. One of the last times we were together, we were beautifying and improving the shade garden by adding in garden decor that I had and adding in plants that I overwintered and then brand new purchases for me. So because we were over here, we are now going to go straight ahead from this area, which is the secret garden and the blue boardwalk. If we start looking at the poolside gardens from this direction, we had worked on this whole area, getting it more colorful, adding in planters, putting new plants and colors and things into these amazing spaces. And then as we head this direction, we had an option of going behind us, which is the shade garden behind the shed, or going this direction, which is the blue boardwalk. Now, typically the blue boardwalk is one of the very last things that I put together in the backyard because this is where most of my tropical plants live. And because of that, tropicals don't really want to come out and be amazing and thriving until the temperatures are consistently warm. And then even as they warm up even more, that's when those plants thrive. So we're talking about things like bougainvillea and tropical hibiscus and those sorts of things. So I tend to stay out of that spot until kind of the last minute. And here we are. Now we can see a couple of things are happening over here, like my yucca is actually in bloom on both sides of the blue boardwalk. So there's one, and here is the other one. So that's something that's happening. And right here is where we have our perennial hibiscus. And the perennial hibiscus is probably about a July bloomer, but he's starting to put on all of his growth right now, which is very, very cool. So this one is the Copper King, and it's big, light pink kind of flowers rimmed with some darker pink in it too. So that's very cool. Those are the kinds of main things that are really happening right now. Besides that, other things are just beginning to pop up. This is the sago palm. He's beginning to get his new growth on him. And then I can cut off these brown fronds because they won't do anything for us moving forward. And actually, this little planter is very colorful and cute already. So this is my ice plant. So he just lives outside all the time. And obviously you can see the color on it and the texture on it is like super cool. It's a succulent style plant. This is the lemon coral sedum, just happens to look so vibrant right now because it's blooming. And then of course the red diplodenia, which is a favorite plant. So that's something that looks great. Besides that, we got lots of work to do back here. I'm getting a bit of growth on my canna lilies, which is cool, but quite honestly, we need to divide them up a bit. We need to take some of these out of here because, like, for example, I have some liriopes that are over here. And look, the cannas just want to grow right into where the liriopes were. So I want to take at least this bunch right here out. And then I have some garden decor that needs to get put back into its place, which is so fun because then you know it's here for the rest of the gardening season. So let's start with that. Let's start with the decor because those are such fun pieces. Job number one is going to be cleaning this bird bath. As you can see, it's grody and it's just from, you know, being outside. So what I like to do is mix some white vinegar and water together, and I use a scrub brush to just scrub the inside of the bird bath. In this case, it happens to be full of water right now because of recent rain. So I'm actually just going to add the vinegar directly to this bird bath. And we're going to see what happens that way instead of using a bucket full. I have also decided to fill my bird bath up with some color. Now, something you can know about me is I collect sea glass. I love it. I'm obsessed with it. I used to make all sorts of things out of sea glass, jewelry, all sorts of things. And so I had it divided up into baggies according to color and all sorts of things. I collected sea glass for just many, 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 many years. But of course, there's only time in the day to do so many things, and so I haven't made things with sea glass in a while. But I have all sorts of different colors. I'm going to refrain from using brown because that's not beachy. But I have different shades of green, white, blue, so this way makes me feel nice because I'm getting to use things that I've collected. I have some like super cool pieces. Like look at this bottle top. And this one isn't even like super well done, like super frosted over, but it was too good of a piece to pass up, for example. I have other pieces where you can still see parts of the bottle and words that were on the bottle. Oh, just so many good things. All right, so let me just add a whole bunch of different ones. Ooh, this one's pretty cool too. Okay, looks good to me. We're gonna make our way over to the greenhouse now. And even though I don't have plants left in there at this point, I still have one of my favorite pieces of decor. And that is my beautiful seahorse. He's been hanging outside the pool area for a long time, and I just put him away in the winter because he's made of some sort of like a plaster mix. So even though I leave him out in the weather all the time, I don't know how much he loves it. Now here's the thing with him. He's a beautiful size. I love it so much. I want to say 2.5 feet long. But his clip on the back had broken off. It rusted and broke off. So I didn't know about putting another plate on here. I was afraid that would just make him crumble. So temporarily at least, I'm just gonna have to hang him with some actual like jute rope. Last year I had Mr. Gorgeous hanging over here, and I can tell that because of where his nail is. And of course I had the entrance to the secret garden and the shade garden set up differently as well. This year I'm going to do it a little differently. I would love to just cover over this spot right here on the fence where the stain got a little wonky, actually from the bougainvillea plant and all of its thorns scraping at it last year as the pot sat there. But instead what I'm going to do is just stain that board. And I think I want this guy to go here. So the only thing I'm gonna have to do is hang him up and then take this light post for my string lights and move it that way a little so we're not competing with the seahorse at all. All right, very coastal, looking awesome right there. And the bird bath looks good. So as we take a look down at the ground here, we start our secret garden off with some canna lilies that are just beginning to sprout. We have some purple heart here in the front, the hibiscus we already talked about. And then these are sprouting elephant ears, which should get very, very big. I hope that they do. That was the idea for this entrance here. Now, last year I had a pot sitting right here, so I think I would like to do the same thing. And I also had a pot sitting over there. But before we can go ahead and place pots, let's make sure we have enough soil down and then put our mulch down so we're ready to load up with pots or anything else. At this point, I don't think I have anything else that needs to go in the ground. So let's just get our soil and our mulch down and make sure that our entrance is looking good. And then we'll start heading down the boardwalk that way. As we're doing some work on the ground here, let's just talk about some of these plants. So the banana tree grove, I actually did the same thing in this little one that I did in the grove that's over on that side of the pool, which is I dug up some of the old stumps and I also transplanted this guy over to here, which is why he looks a little bit sad until he gets established. So those are cleaned up enough that makes me happy. This yucca here, I actually took 2 babies out of here, separated them from the parent plant, and just trying to make some more room. And those are the ones that I put in the Island of Misfit Toys. All right, you guys, here's a thing. This is my oleander, which is only growing out of the suckers from the bottom of the tree. And this was originally a tree-shaped specimen. So it had the pink blooms up at the top. It looked so adorable. And a couple of winters ago, it got killed, but the suckers were still there. The suckers, though, barely bloomed. Now, I had propagated some pieces of the oleander previously, and it looks like the same thing happened again this year. The suckers are alive down at the bottom, but the stems themselves are not. So I'm gonna actually cut into them and see if they're brown, but by now I should have been seeing some signs of life. I am going to use my trusty electric trimmers. Yeah, completely dead, completely brown. All right, I'm gonna trim these down to the bottom. I don't even know if I should bother to let this stay in the ground here. It's kind of a waste of space. It's so unfortunate because I see some really huge oleanders in Wilmington and they're all over the place and they're alive. So what does it take to keep them alive? I don't know. But as I said, if I only am left with the little suckers at the bottom, if they don't bloom, this is valuable real estate. And I really want color over here and interest along the blue boardwalk. So we'll give it a little bit more time. I'm going to do my best to dig up some of these canna lilies that are mixed in with the liriope over here. But honestly, if I am not able to save all of the canna lilies and give them to other people, it's fine. These guys multiply like crazy. And even though they are the gorgeous variegated foliage that I love, they will be producing a lot more this year. This little tiny liriope did not stand a chance against all those canna lilies. So we got the roots cleared out of this section, which is nice. So I'm going to let these guys reflourish again. And let's just go see how many cannas we took apart and what we have to give away. Well, I got a wonderful bunch. Now, I'm not going to be keeping any of these myself, but I have my mom, my sister, multiple people that I can give them to. So it's fabulous. And I'm sure I'm not even done yet because, like I said, they grow so much every single year. And here's the thing, like if you saw me breaking the rhizome root, it's not a big deal. As long as we have some of the rhizome root, and if we have this extra fibrous root as well, it's fabulous. This is going to keep growing because this is probably producing another one right here. And you can take off this dead foliage too before you replant if you want. It's a very, very hardy plant, and it is perennial here in zone 8B. So thrilled to give this away to people, like I said, my mom and my sister who live in a colder zone. So this way they don't have to buy them as annuals, and instead they can just have these guys from me. The last bit of work that I think I'm gonna do today is I'm actually gonna see about digging up this older oleander because it's kind of crowding where the green yucca is anyway. So I'm thinking if I only get the suckers, I might want to remove this. That's one thing. But also while it's still small before it starts getting taller or anything like that, let me just see how difficult it is to move. Wow, how about that? If breaking your shovel doesn't say it's quitting time, then I don't know what does. Legitimately, I cannot believe that that just happened. Well, thanks for coming along on the journey for the work that I did get done today. And of course, I do have more energy than I started with, just as I suspected would happen. And it is wonderful to just be outside and be with nature. And I always feel better when I've been productive. So this was really good. Follow My Carolina Garden on social media for more garden inspiration. And until next time, happy planting.